how do you memorize all the notes on the guitar fretboard? There's a whole lot of them. And guitar, unlike piano, is a lot harder to just visually see the notes, right? When you look at a piano, it's really easy to go, that's a C note, that's a C note, that's a C note. But when you look at a fretboard, it's like, where's the C, right? And then you find out that not only do you have C's all over the place, but you can have the exact same C in at least 4 different places. Now, it sounds scary, but memorizing your fretboard isn't as hard as it seems. So today, I'm gonna give you a really easy, simple way that you can memorize all the notes on the entire fretboard, and it's only gonna take a few minutes a day, so let's dive right in. So first of all, what you need to do is get a timer. That's it. So I just use my phone. I literally do this in class. I just pull up my timer because what we're going to do is we are going to set this for 1 minute increment. Or if you're lucky, sometimes you'll do it for 2 minutes. But I have found most people have a much easier time doing this if they're only doing this memorization exercise for 1 minute or 2 minutes. Maybe chalk it up to our short attention spans, or maybe chalk it up to having to do something boring that really pays off for you and it's good for you in the end. Now, before we really go into this, I do have a diagram of all the notes across the entire fretboard, all the way up to a 24 fret guitar, and it is yours for free. I will put the link down in the comments below for you so that you can just download that and you can use that as you memorize these notes. Now, once you have your timer, the first thing that you're gonna do is pick a string and you're going to memorize the notes up and down that string. Now, I'm just gonna do my 6th string right now, but what I would do is take my timer, set it for 1 minute. Nope, not stopwatch, timer, there we go. Now it's going, right? You see that? Timer's going. And I would just start memorizing the notes and go E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and then when I come back down, I'm gonna say flat. So you'd go E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, E. And then you just repeat that until the timer goes off, which is still about 20 seconds away. But you get the idea, right? So what you're doing is you're picking one string and you're memorizing up and down. Now, that order of the notes is the exact same no matter what string you start on. You're just gonna find that you're starting in a different place. So for example, if I do my G string, my 3rd string, then I'm gonna start with G, and then my 1st fret's G sharp, and then A, and then A sharp, and then B, and then C, and then C sharp, and then D, and then D sharp, and then E, and then F sharp, and then G, right? It's always the same order of notes. It's just learning how it fits on the fretboard, okay? Now, I usually only have students go up to the 12th fret for a while. When they get really good, we can go above the 12th fret. That's cool. But just so you know, your open string and your 12th fret note is the exact same, and the pattern repeats after that. So your 13th fret is the same as your 1st fret. Your 2nd fret is the same as your 14th fret, and so on and so forth. Now, once you've done that first minute of memorizing notes on a string, then set it for 1 minute, and you're going to pick a fret. Okay, I don't care which fret it is. It could be your 2nd fret, where what you're going to do is memorize all 6 notes on that fret. So that would be, for example, I would have F sharp, and I would have B, and then I would have E, and then I would have A, and then C sharp, and then F sharp, C sharp, A, E, B, F sharp, right? Whatever it is. And you spend 1 minute memorizing that up and down. Now, make sure you do the sharp names and do the flat names. You want to do both because both will get used in different contexts. Now, after that minute has gone by, I'm going to tell you to set your timer for 2 minutes. And what you're going to do for 2 minutes is you're going to memorize an individual note across the entire fretboard between your 1st fret and your 12th fret. Now here's the kicker. We're not going to use open strings, and we're also not going to skip strings, because here's why. Every single note appears one time on each string between your 1st fret and your 12th fret. And so we're just going to start with A, and we're going to go through all 7 natural notes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay? Then you'll get into your accidentals, your B flat, C sharp, all that fun stuff, okay? But first, start with the 7 natural notes and do those. So for example, let's pick A. So I need to find A on my 6th string, and where that is my 5th fret. Then I'm going to go to my 5th string, which normally is A open, but we're not using open strings. So that means I want my 12th fret. Then I have to go to my 4th string and find where's A between my 1st and 12th fret. Well, that's my 7th fret. Now for my 3rd string, I have A on the 2nd fret. For my 2nd string, A is on my 10th fret. And for my 1st string, A is on my 5th fret again. And then I would go backwards and do this all over again. And each time that you do this, it's important with all of these that you say the notes as you play it. That way you're associating the name with the sound of the note and with the position of the note. And if you want a bonus, sing the note, and then you're associating that sound and training your voice and your ear at the same time, even more. So set your timer for 2 minutes and memorize a single note in every position between your 1st fret and your 12th fret on each string. No open strings, no skipping strings. If you do that for 2 minutes, you're going to get that pretty good. Now, with that, I just had you memorize notes for 4 minutes. That's it. That's all you really need to do. If you can do that for 4 minutes a day, it's a great warm-up for your brain to get your head warmed up and ready to go for playing. But do you want more? Do you want more ways that you can memorize notes? Of course you do. So here's a bonus way that you do this. I have all my students do this. Rather than giving them scales, like printing off scales and being like, here's the major scale. What I do is I give students the notes of a scale, and then they have to find that scale on the fretboard. So for example, we'll say we're learning the C major scale, right? Everybody starts out with C major because it's all natural notes. Now the notes of that scale are C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And then it repeats. So here's what I have students do. I have them start on their 6th string, and we're gonna find 3 notes of that scale on each string of the guitar. Now this is what we call a 3-note per string scale, and you'll see why, okay? So for example, we're gonna find C on your 6th string, which is your 8th fret, and then D is your 10th fret, and then E is your 12th fret. Now, I would have my students on a fretboard diagram, and you can just write 6 horizontal lines. The bottom line is your 6th string, the top line is your 1st string, and you just do frets so that you've got the whole fretboard there, okay? And map this out and write down these notes, and write down C, and then D, and then E. Now that's 3 notes of the scale, so we're gonna go on to the next string and find the next 3 notes of the scale. Well, the next note is F, which is also the 8th fret on your 5th string, and then G on the 10th fret of your 5th string, and then A on the 12th fret, just like we memorized. Then we're gonna go through all the rest of the strings, finding 3 notes of the scale at a time. Now here's the trick. On the D string, we're going to have our B note on the 9th fret, and then your C note on the 10th fret. Then we're gonna continue going through the scale. So we're gonna do D on 12, and then that's 3 notes. So we're gonna go to the next string and find our E right here on the 9th fret of your 3rd string, and then F on the 10th fret, and then G on the 12th fret, and then that's 3 notes. So on to the 2nd string, we're gonna do A on the 10th fret, and then B on the 12th fret, and then C on the 13th fret. And then we're gonna keep going more. We've done 2 octaves of the scale. We've gone from C to the next octave higher C to the next octave higher C. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna do D on your 1st string on the 10th fret. We're gonna do E on the 12th fret, and then we're gonna do F on the 13th fret. So that is 3 notes of the scale on each string of the guitar. Now this is the easiest way I've found for students to start to actually see these scales and how they interact. But here's the trick. When you actually learn these notes and you have to start thinking about this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, that really changes how you think about it. So the bonus step for you is rather than just spending minutes memorizing, individual strings, individual frets, and individual notes, make sure that any scale that you learn you are saying the notes as you play it, that you're not just learning patterns of fingerings, right? We don't want to just go. That's my minor pentatonic or my blues scale, right? We don't want to just do that. We want to be able to go, this is my A note, this is C, this is D, this is E, this is G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, right? We want to know what those notes are, because when you are just memorizing like fingering patterns and scale patterns and stuff like that, it doesn't take on as much meaning as when you start to look at the relationships between the notes and identifying the notes within a scale by learning the individual notes of the scale, finding those notes on the scale, saying the notes of that scale as you play it and find those notes really helps you learn it at a much deeper level. So quick review. First of all, set a timer for 1 minute and pick a string and memorize that string up and down. If you want extra credit, do a second string for another minute. After that, set your timer for a minute and memorize an entire fret, all 6 notes on 1 fret. And again, bonus homework, do a second fret for another minute. And then lastly, set your timer for 1 minute or 2 minutes, I don't care, and do an individual note across the entire fretboard. Remember, between your 1st fret and your 12th fret, no open strings, no skipping strings. And if you're doing that, that's really going to help you get a lot of memorizing done in just a few minutes in your practice. But on top of that, take any scale that you know and start mapping out the actual notes of the scale and saying the notes of the scale as you do it. That way you are going to learn that scale so much better, you're going to memorize it better, and you're going to really start to see the relationships between all these actual notes, because the music that we play isn't just like fingerings. It's not just like this is a chord. Is that this chord is an A and an E and another A and a C sharp, and then we've got another E and another A. You have to start to think of these individual notes more than just blocks and fingering patterns and scale patterns and stuff like that. And by doing that, that's going to help you memorize your fretboard. So I really hope that this helps you memorize your fretboard and start to understand the notes on the fretboard a whole lot more. Don't forget to click the link down below in the comments so that you can go get the free diagram of all the notes across the entire fretboard. That will help you get started so that you can start to memorize these notes across the entire fretboard. You're not going to need it for long, because pretty quick, if you're doing the stuff that I tell you to do in this video, you're going to have them memorized pretty quickly. So go memorize your fretboard, have fun with that, and I will catch you guys in the next video.